Hi, I'm Rich from Hong Kong, and this is a tutorial for Berklee College of Music, Introduction to Music Production, Lesson 5, on filter and delay effects in mixing. Today I'm going to go over setting up an EQ VST to function like a normal hardware EQ. An equalizer is used to adjust the audio focus of a track by controlling the frequency at different levels. Additionally, with the software EQ, it allows you to visualize just how that EQ works, so it's an added benefit. So I'm going to show you how to build this EQ in the Reaper DAW using their VST ReaEQ. So here is our track right here, and we're not going to listen to it for the sake of time, but it'll be here just for demonstration. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up a new effect. We're going to find our ReaEQ, open that up, and here we have a blank slate EQ we can make some adjustments to. I'm not an audio expert by any means, so if some of these numbers don't make sense, just take it easy on me. First, I'm going to configure a high-pass filter. That's going to knock out some of the low ends on our range, and ends up making it so we can so any of that unwanted kind of buzz sounds that we don't want to hear kind of get knocked out, that we don't really want in our mix. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up a high-pass filter, and then let's say we're doing a piano piece, for example. Piano, the lowest hertz, lowest note is down at 32 hertz, but in our piano, let's say we have about 110 hertz will be our lowest note. So we'll go ahead and set that at about 110. A nice little thing here is it tells you what note that is as well, which is pretty cool. Gain isn't going to matter with the filter, but the bandwidth octave range does end up helping a little bit, so we can control how steep or shallow that effect ends up going. So I'm going to set this at about 1.7, sort of a steep effect, but doesn't end up doing anything crazy with the signal. So for our second one, next we'll configure our low end shelf, which can control how much of that low end signal we get. Here we can boost or lower that low end. So second one is we're going to set up a low shelf, and we'll set that at about a frequency of just past where we set up our filter, high pass filter. So frequency of about 110, and then a gain on this one. Let's see what happens if we do about 3.6 boost. That'll boost our really low end a little bit. So let's say any bass notes, things like that we want to give a little extra emphasis to. Bandwidth is usually pretty good at about 2. I'll knock it in just a little bit to give it a little bit of a steeper effect. The third section we're going to try and emulate is the low to mid-range EQ. With that one, I'll create a bell, and in Reaper they use a band instead of a bell. So, whoops, I'll leave that there, and I'm going to go to 3. Alright, so I'm going to use a band, use a regular band one. And then for this one, I'll set that midpoint at about a frequency of 350. And then I'll give it a, maybe I want to take this away a little bit. So I'll give it a, set the gain at about -3. Cut out a little bit of that low to mid range. Maybe give a little area for some singing notes, things like that. Bandwidth, I'll leave it about 2. It's creating a pretty good spectrum right there. Next, just like the low to mid end, we're going to set up the same style of filter for our high end. So for this one, I'll set it at a frequency at about 2000. There we go, 2000. And let's say we want to boost this a little bit. So I'll set the gain on this one at about 3. Give it a little added emphasis. And that should be a band, not a high shelf. So there we go, kind of a bell shaped right there, giving a little added emphasis to some of our high notes. Band, yeah, I'll set this at about 1. Let's make it a little bit steeper here. So that boost it won't go quite across as much of the range. And then we're out of tracks here, but what we can do is we can add another band. And what we're going to do with our final one is set up our high shelf. It's going to cut out any unwanted sounds in our upper range. So with this one, I'm going to set up a high shelf, but you could also set up a you could end up setting a low pass as well, which and get pretty much the same effect. So I'll set this one up at about 10,000. Cut out those really, really high frequencies. Gain of about -7. That should really cut it back quite a bit. And then bandwidth, I'll set it down to about 1.2, which will end up kind of steepening that curve a little bit. So now you know how to do some basic configuring of the EQ using Reaper's built-in VST. It's a great way to bring out the sections of your track that you want highlighted. Thanks for watching, and feel free to offer any feedback or additional information. Thanks.